cathedral was built. It features 9 educational establishments in at least 15 different locations and required 2 Acts of Parliament to bring about the several amalgamations. Let us try to unravel this convoluted tale and bring you up to date with the modern Foyle College, which now resides on the east bank of the River Foyle. In 2018, Foyle College moved to the Springham campus on the waterside, the site of the former US Naval Base. Staff, pupils and parents are absolutely delighted with the state-of-the-art facilities available to them now, even if it did take over 20 years to materialise. Not long after Headmaster Patrick Allen closed the gates of Duncragan for the last time, and the statue of Lord John Lawrence was being transferred to the new site, Springtown School very sadly was completely destroyed by arsonists. It has since been demolished. However, we have a proud history in Foyle, and we start our story back in 1617. When the plantation of Ulster was being planned in 1608, provision was made for the establishment in each of the 6 counties of 1 free school in each, which was to be supported by the grant of land. However, the school in Derry, unlike the 5 royal schools of Ulster, to which group it belonged historically, did not receive any land endowment. 2 commissioners appointed by the Irish Society, one of whom was Matthias Springham, who in 1617 was to become the master of his company, the Merchant Tailors, promised to build at his own expense a free school. That promise, made by Springham, was duly honoured. The town clerk, Robert Goodman, acting as his agent, a schoolhouse long and narrow was erected on ground provided by the Irish Society near to where St Augustine's Church is today, and on a stone above the door the following inscription is cut. The inscription reads, "To the glory of God and the spreading of good literature." In later years, one of the houses of the college was named after Matthias Springham. This old map of Londonderry in 1625 clearly shows the free school within the walls and near to St Augustine's Church. It is interesting to see how the walled city looked in 1625, and a few years later, an important scheme for the rebuilding of the school on an enlarged scale was carried out under the leadership of the Bishop of Derry, Robert Mossam. It is worth noting 2 persons connected with the school at this time: Ellis Walker from 1685 to 1694 and George Farquhar. Walker combined duty as master of the free school with duty as curate of the chapels of ease at Muff, Burt and St Augustine's. During the difficult times of 1689 to 1692, he was in Yorkshire at the house of his uncle, to whom he dedicated his translation of Epictetus. After the siege, he returned to the school, and the second period of stewardship saw 5 boys going to Trinity College, Dublin, including one, George Farquhar. There is some doubt of Farquhar's ancestry. George was born in Derry, and he became a pupil of Ellis Walker, who was the master of the free grammar school in the city. He may have been there before and after the siege, but in any case, he entered Trinity College, Dublin on the 17th of July, 1694. This wayward genius left the college without a degree, took to the stage in Dublin, and from there his acting experience helped him to find work in London, where he was associated with the Restoration dramatists. Farquhar's work has stood the test of time, and his best known plays remain The Recruiting Officer and The Bow Stratagem. The Bow Stratagem was performed in the New Theatre in Artillery Lane in April 1798, and as recently as 1989 the Royal Court Theatre revived The Recruiting Officer. But to return to the school, it didn't enjoy the improved conditions very long before the siege of Londonderry in 1688-89 occurred. During the siege, a new use was found for the yard of the school building. A horse mill, which was of great service in grinding grain for the besieged, was erected at the Free School. This may have drawn the enemy's fire for the building. In any case, it suffered the general ruin, for a part of the grant of 1,500 given by Queen Mary for the restoration of damage to public property was earmarked for the school. Some repair work obviously took place, but more needed to be done, and in 1707 the schoolhouse was substantially rebuilt. The master then was the Reverend George Blackhall. This drawing, which shows the development of Foyle College and the subsequent amalgamations, was made by Headmaster Hugh Gillespie, and we will return to it several times during this video. This very fine piece records the various locations around the River Foyle, where on the left sites of boys' education is depicted, on the right the girls', and in the centre the two campuses of the co-educational Foyle and Londonderry College. Another worthy of note at this period was Francis Andrews, after whom Andrews House, one of the original houses of Foyle College, was named. He attended the school in the late 1720s and entered Trinity College, Dublin, in 1733. He later became Provost of the University. Andrews was what we should nowadays refer to as a good PR man, a good mixer, fond of society, a bon viveur, and much given to entertaining. By this means, he brought Trinity into the mainstreams of Irish society and political life, and a later provost has said that his reign was possibly the most brilliant in the history of the college. At this time too, a scholar who was to leave his mark on the administration of the county of Londonderry was associated with the school. He was G.V. Sampson, and his statistical survey of the county of Londonderry still remains a valuable reference work for the social history of the period. He was the master of the Free School from 1790 to 1794, and in 1794 he became Church of Ireland rector in Annaloo, just outside Limavady. A folly in the form of a tower, built to his memory by his son, still stands today and can be seen near Limavady. Before we leave the 18th century, let us take note of a William Beattie, 1773 to 1832. He was born in the Waterside and believed to be educated at the Free Diocesan School in the 1780s. He was the surgeon who attended the mortally wounded Lord Nelson on the HMS Victory at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. A bullet removed from Nelson was made into a watch fob by William, later to become Sir William Beattie. The days of small things was coming to an end. The early years of the 19th century saw great changes and developments. William Knox, who had been appointed Bishop of Derry in 1803, realising that the old schoolhouse was not only unsuitably placed within the walls of a growing city, but was in a bad state of repair, and set upon the task of establishing the school on a wider basis. He offered in 1808 a site on the Strand Road on grounds which was part of the lands belonging to the See of Derry, and which he was subsequently authorised by an Act of Parliament to let at a reasonable rent. The Reverend James Knox was headmaster at that time and held the post for 40 years. He took the position aged 38